Constitution, which the President himself highlighted. He said he was acting within the purview of Section 305 of the Constitution. Section 305 of the Constitution explains the circumstances under which the President shall declare a state of emergency. And the conditions are properly stated. If the country is facing a threat of war or imminent war, is Nigeria facing the threat of war in Rivers State? That's one question. It also talks about, a situation whereby something could happen in any part of the Federation where, Nigeria could find itself in a chaotic situation. The President is required to act. Number 3, where the governor in that particular state does not immediately respond, to the crisis situation and does not approach the president to act in the national interest. So those conditions are properly spelled out. However, that same Section 305 says that the president, will give a proclamation which will be gazetted, and then will go to the National Assembly, and the National Assembly, if it's in session within, 48 hours, would act. If it's in recess, within 10 days, will act. If the National Assembly does not consider that particular proclamation, gazetted proclamation, valid, then it will vote otherwise. 2/3 majority of the two houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives. And if that happens, the decision is abated. Okay? Now, because we are constrained by time, let me now say that Section 305, which the President quoted, is the operative principle. Now, let's look at what the President said. I think that the President has violated the Constitution, even within the purview of Section 305. And he has violated the Constitution because he was not properly advised to respect that section of the Constitution. In what regard did he violate that section of the Constitution? In fact, he acted as a dictator by saying that the administrator that he has appointed can make regulations and laws will be made for the Rivers State House of Assembly henceforth by the Federal Executive Council. The Federal Executive Council does not have such powers. Section 11 of the same Constitution says that, look, when there is a state of emergency, it's only the National Assembly that can make laws for a state House of Assembly. Now, President Tinubu has appropriated unto himself the powers to make laws for the Rivers State House of Assembly. That's an impeachable offense. I don't know whether the National Assembly will have the courage either to reject his gazetted proclamation or to proceed on an issue of impeachment against him for violating the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, the other relevant portion of the Constitution is Section 188. Section 188 of the Constitution spells out how a governor can be removed from office. A governor cannot be removed from office by the proclamation of the President of Nigeria. It can only be removed if there is gross misconduct, as put as an allegation by the House of Assembly, and then the CJ is advised to form a panel of reasonable people, people of distinguished qualities in the state. And if that panel now decides within the purview of Section 188 that those allegations are wrong, that puts an end to that process. The President has not followed that. He has acted unilaterally. Section 1, subsection 2 of the same Constitution says that this country called Nigeria cannot be governed except by the provisions of the Constitution. There is no provision in the 1999 Constitution that says that the President of Nigeria can unilaterally remove a governor, remove the deputy governor, remove the legislature of a state in Nigeria. So again, that again proves that this is a violation of the Constitution. I go to the third leg of my analysis, which is to say that who advised the president? The people who advise the president must be called to order. Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, is a very distinguished lawyer. I don't understand how Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, arrived at this advice. And I also say that retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, if he's a patriot and a citizen, he must reject this appointment, making him sole administrator of Rivers State, because it is a wrong appointment and his own integrity has been called to order. Whatever may be the motivations, he must act as a citizen and issue a statement forthwith to say that he will not be party to the violation of the Constitution. Now, what argument are they putting up? It has been said that, Obasanjo did this when he was president. After all, he removed Dariye in Plateau, he removed Fayose in Ekiti. Look, at that time, Akinolu Jimi, SAN, who was Attorney General, was relying, I think, on the 1960 Constitution. The explanation that he offered that the 1960 Constitution and the emergency, the Declaration of State Emergency Act of 1961 allowed the federal government to remove a governor or remove a legislature. Now, it was wrong, because at the time he was making that statement, with due respect, the operative law in Nigeria was either it was the 1999 Constitution. So Akinolu Jimi saying it was 1960 Constitution, 1961 Declaration of Emergency Act was just using political expediency to justify the illegality that President Obasanjo engaged in. And people who are quoting the Obasanjo president must realize that an armed robber cannot say that because one armed robber got away with it, so you also have a right to commit armed robbery. That is wrong. The second point that I would like to make, again with due respect, is that people have been referring to the Jonathan period, that Jonathan declared a state of emergency in about 3 states of the Federation, Adamawa, Borno, I think Yobe. Now, that argument has been settled by Mohammed Bello Aduke, who was Attorney General of that time, in his book, The Burden of Service. I don't remember the specific pages, but as a reviewer of that book, I reviewed that book on the back page